Oh, there's a funny moment. I gotta highlight these two moments for you guys. I forgot to do this. No, I did one of them in my review. One of the first ones was with Zuko and Iroh. And so Zhao finds out the Avatar's real, and he's at Kyoshi Island. So he's like, I'm going to go to fucking Kyoshi Island and capture the Avatar myself. But Zuko and Iroh don't know where Zhao is. And they the scene literally starts with them, Uncle, where is Zhao? Uncle Iroh goes, I don't know where Zhao is, Zuko. And then this random fucking character we've never seen before, like at all, walks in the screen and goes, oh, are you looking for Commander Zhao? He went to Kyoshi Island. There are reports of the Avatar and a flying bison. Ha ha ha. Anyway, goodbye. And he just leaves. I was like, what? Excuse me? It's just like, that's the exposition. That's an example. That's a scene. And they're like, we got to go to Kyoshi Island. I'm like, you couldn't have done something like a little more clever and not even have that at all? Or like you could have, oh my God, thanks exposition, bro. Straight up. I wanted to go ahead and I wanted to move on to a spoiler review of sorts for Avatar: The Last Airbender, the Netflix live-action adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender. I posted my review to YouTube, I guess a couple of days ago at this point. And before kind of sharing my thoughts on the series overall, I did want to just kind of highlight, my appreciation for the original animated show all the way back in the day. I remember when Avatar: The Last Airbender first debuted back in 2005, and just absolutely fell in love with it, watching all the way up until the finale in 2008. What Michael DiMartino and Brian Konietzko created, in my personal opinion, is a masterpiece. I love that show for its world, for its story, and for its incredible characters, from Aang, Katara, Sokka, Toph, Zuko, Iroh, so many of the other characters featured in that show. I thought it was great. It is one of the definitive, not only one of the definitive animated shows of the 21st century, I think it's one of the definitive shows of just all time. I think what they did was incredibly special, and it's a show that clearly has inspired so many other people, whether it be writers or directors or artists or animators. It's a really special show, and it means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to you guys too. And of course, there have been attempts to adapt it, infamously the M. Night Shyamalan movie from 2010. Less said about that, the better, in my opinion, which changed the trajectory of the franchise, of course. And then you have this Netflix adaptation, which was announced quite a while ago. I want to say back in 2018, 2019, but the pandemic kind of screwed things up. Eventually, we got the show, obviously. Just released this week as of this recording. And, I was already getting pretty worried about it, obviously. With Konietzko and DiMartino, who were serving as consultants and I think producers to a degree. But then they left the production because they were unsatisfied with the direction that the show was going in and kind of washed their hands of it, and instead concentrated on upcoming animated projects in the Avatar universe, which I'm so excited about, which I don't know if we're going to see some of that stuff towards the end of this year or certainly the beginning of next year, which I can't wait. Sequel shows showing adult Aang, Katara, Sokka, etc. Can't wait for all that. Zuko, Kyoshi, all that. So that was concerning. Seeing the first few trailers, I was thought like, okay, I was very trepidatious. I was very, very worried. And, saw the last trailer not too long ago, of course. I thought, it's probably the best one so far. And, I finally watched the show. All 8 episodes. I watched them pretty much all over, like, the course of an entire day. Just one after the other, taking a brief break. And originally, I was only going to review a few. I put up my initial impressions, my initial thoughts, but I thought, you know what? I was on episode 5. And I was like, I only have 3 more to go. Let's just watch this, right? And, for the most part, Chad, even though there are some things that I could point to and that I enjoyed about it, several performances that I like, mostly from side characters, tertiary characters, that I enjoyed. And I thought some of the bending was pretty cool, especially the fire bending and the earth bending and the air bending. I thought that all looked pretty good. And they kind of went hard in some cases. There were some pretty dark deaths, people being set in fire and going, ah! I was like, oh wow, Jesus, that that escalated quickly. But outside of that, I'm disappointed by the show. Mostly because of its dialogue heavy exposition, and stilted performances. This show is constantly telling and not showing. And the fact that they are just including so many episodes, the original animated series, into one episode. And I actually found this great article I want to show you guys to show you just how much they try to cram in one of just 8 episodes in the show. They don't have time to breathe. It doesn't have like a natural sense of flow. You have characters. They're not, you never get a sense. You never get like a really good sense of the relationships between any of these people, because so often, more often than not, majority of the time, 95% of the time, they're just talking about things that they have to do. They're just saying like, I feel this way right now and we need to do this. And that's across the board, especially in the main trio of Aang, Katara, and Sokka. Like I never once, by the end of the show, I never once thought of them as friends or a family. There is such a lack of affection between Aang and Katara in this series, which is a huge issue for me, and that bothered me quite a bit. And I want to go into a number of like details about the show and why I feel like some of the things that they chose to reveal at first just didn't work. But I kind of want to get a sense of you guys. Like, what did you think of this series? Those of you who have watched it. All of it, or even a few episodes at this point. Where, I mean, did some of you guys actually ended up loving it or liking it? Were you more like me, being very disappointed, with it in the very end, or were you just kind of more mixed with everything? I'm actually very curious to hear your guys, thoughts on this. Space Cowboy, Tommy, good to see you. I've watched 6 out of 8 episodes of Netflix Avatar so far, and I just have to say, it's all right. Yeah, that's what I've been hearing across the board. Like, I've seen some people saying they liked it, they think it's good. A lot of people disappointed, but also just a lot of people just saying that they think it's fine. It's nowhere near as good as the original series in any capacity. Like, not at all. It doesn't reach the heights of the original, certainly the original first season at all. But it's not as bad as M. Night's version, but they do have a lot in common with each other, just the way in which people talk to each other and the heavy exposition. Like, they both have that flaw completely through and through, and that bothers me quite a bit. I have no intention of seeing it. Animated series is all I need. Yeah, no, I get it. Hamilton Burger, I don't have Netflix. Chris, I ain't watching that shit. Everything I've heard described just sounds like slightly less shitty version of the movie all over again. Yeah, it's like a slightly less shitty version of the movie. Like, the bending looks better, for the most part. Like, the one bending form that just did not work for me across the board was water bending. Just the CGI for the water just looked weird. Like, its practical applications just kind of looked odd. Like, firebending looked really scary and badass. Earthbending looked pretty good. And with the airbending, I like. Not as cool as earthbending or firebending. But, it's more in the middle. And the waterbending was like, whatever. I just didn't care for that at all. Human Black Human, I think it's a bold move for Netflix to present Avatar: The Last Airbender from the Ember Island player's point of view. Now, if they did that, that would be amazing. If that's what this is, was a play, and then the real, that would be, wow. I'd be like, whoa, bravo, Netflix, for tricking us. And here's the real show. Like, whoa. That would be hilarious. That would be hilarious, Human Black Human. I love it. I'm 30 minutes into the first episode. My first impression is the writing is bad, yeah. The premise of the TV show was explained in 3 different times. In the first 10 minutes, oh wait, there's another time. They're gonna explain it. They're gonna explain it yet again. Yeah, that's the thing. They keep. It's like they don't have confidence in the world or the characters, and so they constantly have to have them declare, "This is how I feel in this very moment," even though naturally just showing that through your actions, a brief interaction. And they constantly have to remind us, like what the fuck is going on? Like the whole concept of the Avatar. It's like 100 years ago, there was the Avatar. He controlled the elements of earth, water, fire, air. He disappeared, and then the Fire Nation attacked. Like they literally have a character just say that, even though we already know that. We already know that. They have a character like, all right, we're gonna have to say it in case you guys don't know. Like, you literally showed us. You showed us in the beginning of the episode. And that's the thing. They how they go about like showing certain things is also kind of like weird and awkward, I think, to a degree. Although they do mostly just telling us and not showing us. But even what they show is kind of odd. Do no hour-long earthbending dance and single rubber. Thankfully, I'll tell you this. Thankfully, yeah, because there's an infamous moment in the original Last Airbender where you have all these earthbenders who are doing this super long, just and like a single fucking rock floats by the screen. No, like I will say the opening is not too bad. They show off some pretty cool earthbending, and it's very destructive, and it's like, oh wow. Where it's like, people are doing these moves, and it's like giant tidal wave of earth, and giant rocks are smashing into people, and boulders are like crushing people's heads. It's like, Jesus, right? And firebending, they're just setting people on fire. They're just burning people alive in this show. It's like, God damn. And it happens quite often. So, that was better. That was better. That's when they're going. That's when I think they're trying to we're gonna put a little Game of Thrones in here, which is such a corporate line now. It's like Game of Thrones. We're gonna make it like Game of Thrones. Like not everything needs to be fucking Game of Thrones. Like Avatar doesn't need to be like Game of Thrones, but some of those deaths with like firebending or earthbending, that was like, okay, this is interesting. I didn't expect that. It took me aback. Going, oh shit, not too bad. But I want to show you guys this because this to kind of get you understand, why I feel like they were just doing way too much in like a single episode, and they didn't give like enough room for anything to breathe or have these characters like really interact with each other. And this article, I have this article from Mashable. I think it's from Mashable. Yeah, Mashable. They have like a episode guide, and they talk about the episodes, the 8 episodes, and how each individual episode is taking stuff from episodes from the original Book 1, Water, and Book 2. That's the thing. They put in Book 2 episodes in this. But I was like, what are you doing? Just kind of show you guys this. But here we go. So, for example, like for episode 1, which is called Ain, right there, this is the episodes they feature in this. The Boy in the Iceberg, The Avatar Returns, The Southern Air Temple, The Storm, and The Avatar and the Fire Lord. So stuff even from Book 3 is in here, which is a lot. A lot. When we get to episode 2, which is the Warriors of Kyoshi, of course, they don't do shit with Suki. I was very disappointed with that. This one's not as much, but it's more of the Southern Air Temple, Warriors of Kyoshi, and the Waterbending Scroll. By the time we get to episode 3, Omashu's got a lot. This one and then the second one. This episode, it's the King of Omashu with Bumi, of course, Jet, the Northern Air Temple, and the Waterbending Scroll. So all these, mostly it's King of Omashu, Jet, and Northern Air Temple. They all kind of combine, like, instead of like the Mechanist being in the Northern Air Temple, he's in Omashu, like, with his son. Jet has established his freedom fighters in the kind of woodland section of Omashu, kind of the wildlands there. And of course, you have the Obumi, you have the city of Omashu itself. And of course, Zuko and Iroh, they go to Omashu in this show, and they get into a scuffle with Aang and the characters. So they're there. Iroh gets captured, and Zuko has to go after him. And then we get to this one, episode 4, which, again, a lot. This is where we get to, that's where they start to do, like, Winter Solstice, the Kingdom of Amashu, of course, of Bumi. And the cave, this one bothered me a lot. So this one, like, really stood out to me and stuck in my craw. They do the Cave of Two Lovers, Chad. Here's the thing. It ain't Aang and Katara who have... There's no setup of a romance between them at all. There's just no sense of affection really between the two of them. Guess who are in the Cave of Two Lovers, chat? I was like, because now it makes a lot more sense when they said we're going to go for a more Game of Thrones feel. The two people that are in the Cave of Two Lovers is Katara and Sokka. And I'm like, wait a minute. What's going on here? It's like, I'm thinking, are we doing some Jaime and Cersei Lannister shit? Yeah, it's the two of them in the Cave of Two Lovers. And you have the people, you have the musical group, the band's like, Secret Tunnel. Yeah, they're doing all that. And it's like, yeah, you two guys just got to go through the tunnel of love. Because that's what you want to go through the tunnel of love with, chat, with your brother or your sister. And I'm just like, this is not working. And that's the thing. They felt just so scared, I feel like, to have any sense of romantic feelings or even like a crush. Even like Aang having a crush on Katara, they just didn't even want to bring that up for whatever reason. Now, again, there's like, you could tell there's an age difference between the two of them. But at the same time, it's like, doesn't he have like a crush on her? Like, they just, none of that's there at all. And I'm sorry, but that's an essential part of the show. It's like, even the first episode, like, Aang's like looking at, he can't stop looking at Katara. And she's like, why are you looking at me? He's like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know I was looking at you. Sorry. Huh. And it's like, cause he likes her. He thinks that she's a cute girl, right? He thinks she's beautiful, right? He's never seen a beautiful such a beautiful woman in his life like that, right? And he does these like little things to try to impress her, kind of stand out. That's why he goes off on no little adventures, by the way. No event. Aang's all business, baby, always business. And like that's not there. I'm sorry. That's a big important aspect of book one and their relationship and how Aang feels about Katara. But no, it's just a good old, brother, sister, Cave of Two Lovers episode right there. It's very awkward. And then we get to, and they combine like all the spirit like world stuff. Like, let's knock all this shit out in 2 episodes, combine all those. So we get Spirited Away, which has a fucking lot. We got the Winter Solstice Part 1, Bottle of the Water Tribe, Siege of the North Part 2, the Swamp, the Library. And again, like, okay, so for people who don't know, like the library, that's in book 2. You mean with Wan Shi Ton? Remember the owl librarian? Remember that? He just shows up out of nowhere. Like as soon as they cross over to the spirit world, which is the episode where it's the Winter Solstice Part 1, where they got to go and figure out like, okay, why is Heibai going crazy and kidnapping people, right? They go into that world and they immediately wake up and fucking the owl, the librarian, Wan Shi Ton, is just like, hey, I got some exposition to give you. And they're like, oh, thank you. And he just regurgitates like a fucking bird, just like all this exposition to them is like, all right, well, I'll see you later. And he just flies away. And I'm like, I guess we'll see you in season 2, Wan Shi Ton. I don't fucking know. And I was like, all right. Okay, all right. So like that. And then we get episode 6, Mask, and of course, Mask is it's referencing a number of things. It's referencing obviously the Blue Spirit episode, but also Code, the Face Stealer, who actually does look creepy. Who does look pretty creepy in this episode, and also more of the Storm, where they do more with like Zuko and his past and stuff. And then by the time we get to 7 and 8, and they're pretty much covering everything the Waterbending Master and the siege of the Northern Water Tribe. But this is the big issue, because they are trying to cover, like they're putting in so many episodes from the original series, like in one episode. They constantly are just like, all their dialogue is just referencing something that, okay, we got to do this now. We got to go from, again, point A to point B to point C all the way to Z. And they never, like, there's not a moment, like really a true moment, where anyone's having like a natural conversation with each other in these. Because even when you think, like, what are you talking about? Like, Katara and Jet, like, have a conversation. But what they're doing is they're just exchanging information. Like, Katara's like, let me tell you about my dead mom. And Jet's like, let me tell you about my dead mom. And that's the conversation. Like, no one feels natural. No one doesn't feel like a family where you just have these, like, in every episode, Avatar: The Last Airbender, they weren't always about business. They had these natural conversations. And they joked around. Like, no one jokes in this goddamn show. Like, Sokka says some sarcastic shit. Yes. But outside of that, none of that's there at all. And that's what's so frustrating to me. In terms of, like, really, really, like, big moments, in the show. Actually, let me get you guys' opinion on like some of that. Kind of understand what I'm saying here. Let's see here. There's a couple of years, even that big of an age. Yeah, it's like, well, she's like Aang's 12, like in the show, which I don't even know if like he is 12, and Katara's supposed to be 14 years old, so it was like a 2-year age difference. It's not really big, right? But like you can look at the actors, like they look noticeably older, but still, it's just like, but that's an essential part. So maybe you should have thought about that when it came to the casting. What? Netflix? Did Naya Brownie write this? Naya, did you write this? Of the incest? Naya's like, as soon as like, yeah, we're going to have it where Aang and Katara are going to go through the Cave of Two Lovers. And Naya's like, I have a note I'd like to give. What about some brother loving? Naya's joined the chat. And they said they wanted to be like Game of Thrones. They weren't kidding. Sir. FBI, open up. Oh, man. The owl voiced by the concierge guy from Pretty Woman. Oh, look at that. Sounds confusing. Feels like the characters never have a chance. They never have a chance to breathe because they're always on the move. They're always on the move. Okay, you talk. Now it's my turn to talk. Straight up, that's what it is. Okay, you said your piece. Now I'm going to say my piece. Yeah. How's the girl from Prey? Yue? Nothing. What do you think? Well, you know what she does? Gives exposition. That's what she does. She gives exposition. Hey, I was born dead, and I got the moon in me. Sokka's like, hot. Cool. It plays out like, they try to establish a sense of a relationship between the two of them, but it doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel natural at all. No scene of Sokka drinking cactus juice or eating nuts that could be rock. No, nothing like that. No. Like, I'm honestly trying to think of like any like really goofy kind of like Sokka. Yeah, I mean, he's comic relief, but he's more than comic relief, obviously. That's the thing. Like all these characters, they have stripped, and this is me comparing to the original show, which I watched the original show. I love the original show. That's what's naturally going to happen. I've talked about what maybe I've liked some of the changes too, which I'll highlight in just a bit, but they stripped away some of the defining features of these characters for this first season. Like one of the biggest mistakes they did was to remove Sokka's sexism. Sokka was a sexist in season 1 for the most part, but he was humbled throughout his journey. He met these amazing women, like Suki, watching Katara grow into this waterbending master. But that's just not here. In this show, I think he has daddy issues to a degree. Like his dad didn't appreciate his, ingenuity and his engineering capabilities. Like that's kind of his thing, I guess. Yeah. Aang is, he's sad about like what happened to his people, but he's not like on that, I want to avoid my responsibility because I'm still a little kid. But then he eventually realized, like halfway through the original season, like, okay, I can't keep doing this. Like here, he's just like, I'm all business now. Like he never goes in the direction of like his character was handled in the original series. He's just like, all right, like by the end of the first episode, he's like, I am all business at this point. Let's fucking go. We gotta go to the Northern Water Tribe. Like what brings them to Kyoshi is not like, we're gonna stop at Kyoshi Island because there's these giant koi fish I want to ride because I want to impress Katara, because I have a crush on her. It's like, no, I want to go talk to. There's a lot of focus on Avatar Kyoshi in this. Like she shows up and what do you think Avatar Kyoshi does? Gives exposition. She gives exposition about the Avatar state because Aang doesn't understand the Avatar state. He doesn't know what the fuck it is. And so she literally sits him down and tells him and shames him. And then she briefly takes over for a little bit and like messes up some people in the episode. And like they name drop like a number of other avatars, like Kyoshi. Roku is in this. Roku is kind of weird. But again, Roku's just there to give exposition. He's like, all right, now listen, in order to defeat Ko, like Ko's in the show and they change some stuff around. He's like, in order to get your friends back, you got to give this to Ko. It'll fuck him up. Cool. Just do that, dude. Bye. And he kind of fucks off. And they do that. They do that with all the major like characters. Like the only people that felt like relatively natural to me was the actor who played Jet. He was the first character I encountered for the most part, in terms of like, there's some others. Like, there's one other person I actually liked, but he was like one of the first characters I encountered that didn't feel like he was reading everything off a cue card. Where how in it's episode 3 where they were in Omashu for the first time, where they like we don't know how to get in, and they encounter Jet, who sees them, and he's like, "Oh, you guys, what are you guys trying to do?" He's like, "We're trying to get in the city, but." We're not Earth Kingdom citizens. He's like, I got you. And he's like so charming and charismatic, and he actually has like a natural like flow to the way he talks. Like I'm commenting because he doesn't sound like a fucking robot, and I like that about him. And you're charmed by him, and he gets in, and he's like, okay, cool. He's like, hey, see you guys later. Careful, I like him. I like Ken Loon, who played Zhao. I liked him. It's a very different take on Zhao. He's not as he becomes arrogant later on, but he's not as arrogant and like he's not like a blowhard like Jason Isaacs' version, the original show. Here he's and he's not like well liked by Ozai, because Ozai is like he makes him an admiral later on and everything because he has like I have this respect for Zhao. He could follow my orders. Zhao is they showcase Zhao as being this kind of like forgotten, like you run this little section of the Fire Nation colonies in the southern part of the Earth Kingdom. You're a hub, you're a port, that's all you do. And he gets like this opportunity to be like, oh, I could like, get this prestige, rank if I make all these, if I make these big moves. And he's manipulative, he's underhanded, he's a weasel. And it's very different from Zhao from the show, but I actually like that change. I didn't mind that too much. And the other character I liked was Danny Pudi as the Mechanist. I like Danny Pudi, and he's naturally charismatic, whether it be in Community or in DuckTales. And so I liked him, but even he has to deliver exposition. And I was just like, God damn it. But everybody else in the show is that's all they really do. And I'm trying to think like you have the beginning of the series where they show the beginning of the 100-Year War, where the Fire Nation they're gonna commit genocide against the air nomads, and but they trick the rest of the nations to think they're gonna attack Ba Sing Se and the Earth Kingdom, but they're like, no, we want them to think that because we're gonna kill all the airbenders, and they proceed to, but that's when Ain's gone. He leaves, and the reason why Aang leaves, and this is another thing that bothered me. So one of the things that is essential to Ain's arc in the original show is he's so guilty because he ran away. He ran away, and he left that like such a little kid thing to do, and that's when he gets lost in the storm and everything, and it messes, and then he's like, and he gets frozen, right? In this, it's like I just need some time. I'm just gonna go for a little flight with Appa, just clear my head, Appa, and then he kind of takes off with Appa, and then it happens, but it's like. But that's like a part of his journey is the fact he did this very little kid thing, and he's still like acting like a little kid in the first season, but he realizes like, I gotta stop being a little kid now, right? Even though I'm a little kid. And this is just like, and he states how he feels to Appa, even though we've already seen it, is because I guess Appa's got to know, because Appa can't tell. Appa's like, you just fucking feed me apples and shit. I don't know who you are half the time. So I was like, why are you doing this? And so like we see Fire Lord Sozin and his troops like slaughter the air nomads, and he ends up killing Monkey Atsu, and he does a total Anakin Skywalker on those kids. It's like, Fire Lord Sozin, they're everywhere. What are we gonna do? And he's like, I don't fucking care. And he burns them alive, right? And so they do that. And then like any other like super big moments in the show. That's the thing. Like everything just runs into each other, honestly. And, like, anything that's, like, a really cool, like, epic moment, I feel like is kind of underserved to a degree. Like, Boomy's more of a dick in this. Like, he's kind of crazy. By the way, the kid that plays young Boomy is terrible. Terrible child acting on display in this show, chap. I was like, oh, my God, he's terrible. But, yeah, and here he's definitely more of a dick. And he's more resentful, like, towards Aang. He's playful, but he's like, Aang, I love you, but fuck you. Fuck you, Aang. He's kind of like, he has that kind of attitude, which is really weird. In terms of like the Azula is in the show, by the way. Like one of the big interesting things that people are like, oh, Azula is going to have like a major presence in this series, and she does. It's a far departure from the Azula that we know. Like she is not the cool, calculating, manipulative sociopath that she is in the series. She's kind of like a brat. Like throughout the entire show, she's just this really whiny brat, and she's never in control of herself. And she's like Zuko. Actually, I think Zuko is more cool and calm than she is, to be perfectly honest. And it was just like, I wish you could have waited to introduce her, because the way in which you chose to do this doesn't really make a lot of sense. As a matter of fact, like they try to do some retconning at the end, because clearly like Ozai seems to have respect for Zuko, and because at one point like Azula's like talking shit about her brother. It's like, oh, Zhao was the one that found the Avatar. And then Ozai's like, up, before you go, your brother actually found the Avatar, not Zhao. He showed resolve, and you're just a fucking kiss ass, so get on my goddamn palace. She's like, oh, like that. And I was like, what? So that didn't work for me at all. And they try to retcon. So the end of the season, it's the siege of the Northern Water Tribe. You've seen it all before. Zhao's like leading it. Zuko's there and shit. And like Zhao tries to insinuate, this was all ruse, actually. Your father and me and Azula were all in cahoots with each other because Ozai actually did all these things, and he doesn't really respect you because he wants to just harden Azula. That was his end game. I was just like, what? I was like, they pulled that shit out of their ass to say like, and that's why she's gonna be a sociopath in season 2, was just all this like horrible parenting. all this negative reinforcement to make her the way the shit. She was always that. She was broken. She was always a little shit. Even they showed her as a kid, she's a sociopath. Like, even the mom's like, there's something wrong with this kid. And this one, they're like, nah, he did it. Nah, we were all in cahoots. And I'm like, oh my God. And then they fuck Zhao up in this. So in the original show, it's funny. He's died 3 different times. But he's died 3 different ways. So in the original show, like Aang technically kills him. Like Aang in the Avatar, he becomes the giant fucking fish monster. He becomes the kaiju, and he like takes Zhao and he drowns him, right? And funny enough, we see him later on in Legend of Korra. He shows up there. He still thinks he's like, I need the Avatar. I was like, oh shit, which is awesome. He's like in purgatory. He's like in hell, his own personal hell. Like I killed the moon spirit and all that. He kills the moon spirit, and then Yue's there, and she's like and she dies, right? And in the M. Night Shyamalan movie, you just have these waterbenders that come up on him, just like kill him. They just drown him. In this one, Iroh kills him. Iroh burns him alive. He's like, ah! And they eat him. And he's like, ah! And he falls in the ocean. I was like, holy shit. And I was like, Iroh, I don't know. That's not the Iroh that I know, man. That was kind of crazy when that happened. But I guess that's like a big change, like how they dispatch Zhao. And some were saying he's not dead. I'm like, I don't know, man. I think he's fucking dead. I'd be shocked if he survived that. I mean, he doesn't really serve, like at this point, like what purpose would he serve then? You know, because like his whole thing, his story was wrapped up. Like, yeah, he fucked up. You know, he thought he was going to be a top dog, top shit, and he wasn't paying attention. And you know, and he got his ass, you know, killed, got his ass drowned or burned alive. Chris, how do you feel about the Agni Kai between Ozai and Zuko live action versus cartoons? You know, they show that. They actually show a lot of Zuko's past and Iroh's past. They show like Liu Ten's funeral, which that wasn't too bad. Iroh didn't really, the actor, I forget the actor who plays Iroh, but he didn't really have too much of I just wanted more from him, to be perfectly honest. But they have the Agni Kai, and like Ozai, he is not as like just purely evil as he is in the show. Like in the original show, so they have it where it's you know, Zuko is in this meeting, and he stands up for this regiment that would have been sacrificed by the Fire Nation for this battle, right? And Zuko's like, this isn't right. These are our loyal troops, etc. Because of that, because he insulted this person, the Agni Kai is declared, and you know, he finds out, he's like, oh, I have to fight my dad, like literally the greatest firebender alive right now. And Zuko doesn't want to fight him. Ozai's like, tough shit. Now the thing is, like, Ozai's like, I don't want to have to do this to you, but I'm trying to teach you a lesson. So he burns Zuko's face, but you can tell he's like really struggling with having to do that. And again, it's a very different take on Ozai, personally. You know, with he's still a hard. I mean, he burns people alive throughout this entire show. But it's just a far departure from that, to be completely honest. And he's not as ruthless. He's not as cold-hearted and like evil as Mark Hamill's take on the character. So I don't know. It's just complete opposite of Ozai. You know, you still need him to do it, but he's more regretful. And I guess that was the thing that this show was always trying to do. It was always softening everybody. It was like, well, we can't make everyone like too much this way or that way. Let's kind of make it more middle of the road. Like, that's why, like, let's strip out this aspect of this character because we don't want to make them unlikable. Strip out that aspect because, you know, we don't want to get hashtag canceled, you know, shit like that. Like, because, you know, well, I'll get to Katara in a second because she's like one of the weak. Other than Azula, she's the weakest part of the show. And I feel like they did that for Ozai. Well, we got to make him regret. He's like, I'm a tough dad, but I feel bad about what I'm doing. And I'm like, this doesn't really work. But like for Katara, like one of the things that defines her is that she's a very maternal person. She's very motherly. She's literally the glue that keeps that group together. Like if she wasn't there, this entire fucking thing would fall apart, right? You know, she has that closest to Aang. She knows her brother. You know, her and Toph disagree, but they still manage to make it work. She literally keeps it, like in the desert episode, she keeps everyone alive because like we're all gonna fucking die. If it wasn't for her, they'd all be dead. And I like that. And here, she's not maternal at all. None of that's on full display. She just feels, I don't even know how to define her. She's just there. She's just literally there, and she's just there to kind of be shy and awkward. That is what I would describe Katara as. She's shy and awkward in this series. There's none of that passion. There's none of that, like, I'm going to make a goddamn inspiring speech and talk about hope and why we need to do this right now or we're all going to die. Like, she never has that moment. And that was a huge mistake. And I don't know if because they thought there'll be a backlash because she being maternal, like being maternal or motherly is a weakness. Like there are so many amazing female characters who are maternal, you know, and it's like you can still be a badass and be maternal. I mean, look at Aliens. Look at Ellen Ripley, who was a mother. That movie's about mothers fighting each other, mother v. mother, and protecting their child, right? And they made that badass. And so to take that and strip that away from her was a huge mistake. Huge mistake. And so that really bothered me about the show. I'm trying to think if there's any like really big spoiler moments. Those are the big ones, honestly. The rest of it is just all, it all blends together because it's all exposition. But yeah, they set it up for the next season. You know, the comet and everything. You know, Sozin's comet. I'll become more powerful. I'll destroy the Earth Kingdom that way. Yada, yada, yada. This is what they changed too. It's a big change. So, Ozai is unaware of Zuko's failure and is not sending Azula after Zuko. And instead, he is sending her to take over Omashu. That's what they're doing in the. I guess that's gonna be the setup of the next season, which I guess that's probably gonna be the first episode, is them going back to Omashu and seeing it's gonna be taking over and stuff. So that's what they're setting up. So it's like, okay, so all that's gonna be changed, I guess. If they even do a season 2, I'm very curious if they're even gonna do a season 2. I don't know what Netflix doesn't release their numbers at all. The reviews have been very mixed tepid. There are people that like it, but there's a lot of people that don't, like me. And there's a lot of people that are mixed. So it's just like, okay. I don't know. It just, here's the thing. By the time, I said this before, I don't know if I said this in my original review or just in natural conversation with you guys. When I got to the last episode, like episode 8, I didn't want to watch it. I was like, I'm good. But I watched it anyway because I was like, well, I'm already there. I'm already here. I might as well get this done. And I watched it, and I just kind of felt tired and sad a little bit. And I didn't really want to stream because I was like, I just don't have the energy. And so I just did my review and edited it and got that up that morning, or that upcoming morning. But yeah, Chad, that's the thing. Like, what I spoiled is, I guess, the big moments to spoil. Everything else is like you've seen before, but just done in a lesser way. And that's really frustrating to me because I love this property. I guess it just comes down to the fact that not everything animated needs to be adapted into live action. It's fine in the medium that it's in. I don't like this mindset. It's prevalent in the West that you're not legitimate unless you're adapted in live action. You're not legitimate unless you're a movie or something like that, right? Like, animation is a wonderful medium to tell stories for both children and adults in all ages. And that's where Avatar is really working, obviously. And I'm so excited for Konetsuko and DiMartino's upcoming Avatar projects, which hopefully will give us what we want. And I bet they will. And this show, for me, it didn't give me what I want. I don't need as people are saying, like, you just want a shot for shot remake. No, I did not. I highlighted some changes that I liked. My problem at the end of the day with this TV show is that nothing felt natural. All the dialogue was stiff and awkward. Many of the performances were stiff and awkward. And I'm tired of just hearing fucking exposition on top of exposition on top of exposition. It's like, have a goddamn natural conversation where I get a sense of who these people are and the affection that they have for each other. That's the thing that works most about Avatar. It's not the world. It's not even the bending. Not all that. That's great. That's all wonderful window dressing. But it's the fact that I love these characters and the way they interact. They feel like a goddamn family. And when something bad happens to them or they are in danger, I feel something. And I never felt that. I didn't give a shit that, like, Katara and Sokka were going to be left to die in the spirit world. I didn't care that Aang was sad about his people that were slaughtered by the fight. I didn't care. And that's the thing that that bothers me. So I guess that's my spoiler review. Let me see what you guys are saying. Oh Lord. Not dead. He was smoking face down. That's what I thought. I thought he was dead too. But then people were saying he's not dead. I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's fucking dead. I know it's wrong, but he smells delicious. So I bet. Oh, they cook a number of people too. Oh, there's a funny moment. I gotta highlight these 2 moments for you guys. I forgot to do this. No, I did one of them in my review. So there's 2 fucking really funny moments in the show. Okay, what was the? Oh, one of the first ones was with Zuko and Iroh. And so Zhao finds out the Avatar is real, and he's at Kyoshi Island. So he's like, I'm going to go to fucking Kyoshi Island and capture the Avatar myself. But Zuko and Iroh don't know where Zhao is. And they like the scene literally starts with them, Uncle, where is Zhao? Uncle Iroh goes, I don't know where Zhao is, Zuko. And then this random fucking character we've never seen before, like at all, walks in the screen and goes, oh, are you looking for Commander Zhao? He went to Kyoshi Island. There are reports of the Avatar and a flying bison. Ha ha ha. Anyway, goodbye. And he just leaves. I was like, what? Excuse me? It's just like, that's the exposition. That's an example. That's a scene. And they're like, we got to go to Kyoshi Island. I'm like, you couldn't have done something like a little more clever or not even have that at all. Or like you could have, oh my God, thanks exposition, bro. Straight up. It was like they had that scene. And that was just so incredibly unnecessary in this show. And I honestly fucking forgot what the next one is. I was like, I have 2 funny scenes in this show, and I already forgot what the other one was. Damn it! I wish I could remember. But damn, I had it in my mind, but that one just kind of took over my brain for a second. I was like, give me a goddamn break. Hilarious. Let's see you guys are saying. Maybe it'll occur to me in a second if I keep reading your stuff. Pixel, good to see you. Hello, peeps. Is this anime talk or X-Men talk, cartoon talk? This is Avatar: Last Airbender live action talk. Spoiler review. Mrs. Frisbee, the main character of my favorite movie, is a mom who goes to literal hell and back for her kids. Oh no! There you go. Yeah, actual review. Weird. Not a fan of those certain cartoons, so I'm going spoilers. No problem, man. He's like the actual performance and writing were 100% they were 100%. How do I agree, Chris? Live action is not superior to animation. Oh, it's not even. It's just it's one is not superior to the other. They're just mediums to tell stories, and I wish people would have that. But there's this mindset, and it's prevalent in the West where like live action is better. It's like, well, why? Halo Avatar in terms of adaptations. I'd probably go. If I had like gun to my head, probably Avatar, I suppose. I couldn't even stomach watching the rest of Halo. I watched 2 episodes. I'm like, I'm good. I couldn't get into it. Picture review of the Avatar movie I have. You can check out my spoiler review. That's one of my first spoiler reviews I ever did on my channel. It's on my YouTube channel. The series is literally perfect. Season 2 of Halo is much better-ish than Season 1 so far. It still has Mackie. Oh, is that the girl? I hate her. Thanks, exposition, bro. KJ, I agree. I get that live action can be exciting for people, but animation provides a level of creativity that really stands out to me. The Avatar animated series is still one of my favorite shows of all time. Man, mine too. Isaac, good to see you. I'm late to the party, but I'll be destroying Cabbage this season or not? Cabbage Merchant's in the show. He's there. I think it's the same voice actor, right? Isn't the same guy that does the voices of the Cabbage Merchant? It's him playing the character. He's in it. He's in the show. He's talking about cabbages. He's doing that shit. Yeah, he's there. Spoiler. God, I'm trying to remember what the other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about. There was another fucking stupid random scene that was really unintentionally funny. It was exposition, bro. And there was like another scene just like that, and I'm trying to remember. Is it in episode 1? No. There's Aang telling Appa how this is how I feel right now, Appa. There is that. And then there's episode 2. Yeah, I don't remember what it is. It went out. It went in one ear and it went out the other, Chad. I had it though for a bit. But yeah, that one, that's an example of the writing on the show. Oh, Lord. And that is, I saw someone in my comments for my review said this, and I thought they nailed it. If you want a concise description of what this show is, it is the equivalent of a Disney live-action remake of one of their Renaissance-era films. That's what it is. It feels like that. It's like, okay, you recognize all these things, right? But it's not nearly as good as any of those things. There might be like a few good moments. You're like, you know what? This is good. That's good. But then the rest of it is just mediocre to terrible. And that's what it is. That's what this show is to me. Yep. Oh, brother, Halo Season 1, I wanted to die Season 2. They fired a ton of people and are fixing it. They got rid of most of the Season 1 characters in Halo. They got Glass, except for Maki. Now there again. It's a granny that recited the entire intro. Was that what it is? No, I think I mentioned that, but you did have the grandma. Even though we've literally like have heard about the Avatar cycle and everything, and she does the whole intro. It's like 100 years ago, the Avatar disappeared and the Fire Nation attacked, and the Avatar would one day return, and he would control all 4 elements of water, earth, air, fire, and all that crazy shit. And it is your destiny now, Katara and Sokka, to join the Avatar. And I was like, okay, Grand. Yeah. That happens. That definitely happens. And by that point, we kind of get it. We kind of get it. No penguin sledding, by the way. Now, I don't know what they got against fucking penguin sledding, Chad. They do not want Aang to have fun. At all. At all. What would I give season 1 of Avatar like a rating? I honestly do not do ratings anymore. I have like older content that's coming out where it's ratings. And this is just a new policy that I have. I feel like, and if you have a rating system, that's fine. Hey, if it works for you, it works for you. But I feel like people tend to focus too much on ratings in general, and that defines the review. It's like when you go to a website and you have so many people that scroll down, they just see the number of stars, the number or the numerical value, and then they it's like it's not that, it's not this. And honestly, I just have no interest in doing a review. Like, DTL's their writing scale, and that works for them, but I don't want to define something by giving this a better than sex, a full price, a matinee, a rental, some old bullshit, a fuck you. It's just I just don't do that. I don't do it anymore. And same thing for like Rotten Tomatoes and stuff like that. Like if there'd be ever one day where I would be offered to be a part of that, I'd be like, nah, I'm good. I don't really need it. I don't need to have like a tomato or a Rotten Tomato splat next to my review. I'll be like, no, man, it's my whole thing is I just want people to listen to what I have to say about it in full context to get exactly what I'm saying. And I don't want to define it by a number or a term or a single word. I want it to be taken I want everyone to just listen and take it in and absorb it and to get a sense of how I feel, what I'm saying. I forgot what it is. I'm gonna be sleeping. I'm like, that's what it is. But yeah, it's pretty much my spoiler review, Jap. But yeah, it's just. I remembered it. Funny moment. I was like, have something to do with Azula. Okay, so how they establish Azula is fucking nuts. So we're in the Fire Nation capital quite a bit in this show. And there is like right in which they just called the capital, which I'm like, that's a lame name. But they're in the capital of the Fire Nation, which is just called the capital. And there's this like meeting of Fire Nation citizens who hate Fire Lord Ozai. I get it. It's kind of a dick. And they're like, we're going to assassinate Ozai tonight. We're going to break into the palace and we're going to fucking kill him. Okay? But before we do so, we're going to have a meeting and talk about like how we all feel about Ozai and what we've lost and what was sacrificed, etc. We have a new member of our group who knows how to get into the palace, and the person that they know is literally Princess Azula. Now, the thing is, and so I guess they don't know who she is, even though they've lived in the city their entire lives. So they go into the palace, and it's a trap. And Ozai's like, haha, you dumb fucks. And he's like, how did you know, Ozai? And the girl that's with them is Azula, and she walks out from, it was me. The thing is, they don't disguise her at all. It's literally her. And so my question is I'm like, did no one know what she looked like? You've lived in this city. You're like, I feel like you would have seen her face everywhere. Right? She's royalty. I feel like, or is it that situation where it's like, I don't know. It's like Monty Python. We're like, who's that? It's the king. Is it? It's like a Monty Python sketch. They had no idea. And then he burns them alive because they're stupid. I'm like, I would have burned them alive too because they're just dumb. It's like, what are you talking about? How did they not know that was her? She's everywhere. They have these massive murals of the royal family. I know maybe it's not a shot for shot but I'm like, they're pretty close. And we have no idea who this random character is. They were shitty assassins. They all have face blindness. It must be it. That's what it was. And I was like, we have a king? That's what they said. It's like, oh. And I'm like, okay. It was me, Barry. It was me. And then they burned him alive. Pixel heading out. No problem, Pixel. Thank you for stopping by. on Corpus Christi all this time. I didn't even know that the mayor is right now. But man, it's different. Come on. Like, they live in the capital city of the Fire Nation. They are we are about, listen, man, they're doing their research. Like, we're going to break into the palace. We're going to assassinate Jose. I feel like they would know what the royal family looks like. I feel like they would know, who the people are. And you're telling me no one knows what Azula looks like at all? It's like bull fucking shit. I don't believe it for a second. And people are going well, what about the time that Azula snuck into Ba Sing Se? She has all that shit on her face. It's like they did the dumb version of when they infiltrated Ba Sing Se, and they posed as Kyoshi Wars, and she constantly wore that makeup, and they even say, I'm tired of wearing this makeup, and Azula's like, we have to wear this makeup because if people see what we look like, they'll know who we are. And I'm just oh God! Even the creators of the show realize, even in the Earth Kingdom capital, they might know what Ozai and Azula and the royal family looks like, right? That's why even Zuko had to pretend and kind of hide who he was, to lure attention. Oh God! Oh Christ! Oh, they deserve to be. They were a bunch of dum-dums. They wore Clark Kent glasses to trick him. Yeah. And so, yeah, that's the last thing I wanted to mention, a spoiler of the show. I was like, okay. That's like not knowing what the president looks like. Yeah. So, I have no idea what Joe Biden looks like. I was like, no clue. Who? Is there a choice to have Ko care about that totem his mom gave him when the mother face isn't even supposed to be a thing? I know. They made up some bullshit. Is that from the comic books? I was like, what is this from? I don't know this. I honestly, I think, Ko was underutilized in the original shot. I wish he would have came back. Kind of implied that he would. Maybe he will in the movie, for all I know, which would be awesome. But yeah, that whole stuff of Ko, I was like, what are we doing here? And who does the whole explanation of the mother faces and all that? Roku. And I was like, Roku, what are you doing? He says he's just there to deliver exposition. They should have vetted her. They didn't know what they look like. They were like, she has a sad story. Sorry this was brought up already, but any thoughts on Uncle Iroh early on? Wondering if he'll live up to the legend of Ammon. No, he doesn't. I got nothing against that actor, but he just doesn't. It's the material that's written for him. He has these moments where he's Iroh-esque, and then other moments where he's not. And that's a huge task to live up to what Mako and Greg Baldwin did. Iroh is just such a warm character, and he's iconic. And every Iroh scene in the original show is amazing, whether it be comedic or sad. And they go into more of his son, Luten, and him dying and things, but it's just not, it doesn't hit the same way. It doesn't hit the same way as Little Soldier Boy marching alone. Nothing like that. So, yeah. Yeah. But I mean, listen, that's how I feel. A lot of people are enjoying the show. A lot of people are enjoying the show. And a lot of people are not. I'm very curious to see what's going to happen in the future of this series, if it is going to continue on. Because I don't think it's been greenlit, as far as I know. I think they're waiting. But I bet you Netflix was hoping for a better critical reception. But we'll see. It's no One Piece. I'll tell you that right now. It is no One Piece. Not at all. Which I'm excited. I'm excited for One Piece Season 2. I can't wait to watch One Piece Season 2. I'm like, I don't have to watch Avatar. I probably will, because I'm going to review it. And, because it's, it brings in viewers. And it's interesting to talk about with you guys, too, of course. But I'm not excited. Whereas One Piece, I'm excited. This made me think if there's any big Western adaptation of Chinese historical TV shows. I don't know. Well, it's not Chinese, but they got Shogun, which is out right now, or is about to come out. They're putting reviews. That apparently is really good, which was a miniseries. It was a book, and then it was a miniseries in the 80s, and now they're doing it again. It's got a huge fucking cast. That looks pretty cool. I'm excited for that, but I haven't watched it yet. Oh, man. Well, the totem itself is BS, but Ko, being the son of a spirit called the mother, faces is the search. Gotcha. So they're taking from the comic books. And even how they handle some of that stuff, they mention a bunch of other avatars, and they bring in that lore, but again, it's never woven naturally in the story. It's like, hey, Aang, did you know about this fun fact of Avatar Kyoshi? No, I do not, Katara. Tell me that fun fact. Well, that's what it is. That's all the exchanges between these friends, quote unquote, is them just I read this, I read that. Well, tell me about it because I don't know about it. Well, I will. So, yeah. How's the writing so lazy when the source is right? I don't know. It's a great question. I don't know. It's crazy. But now I understand why Konecko and DiMartino left. Now it's like, I get it. They knew that they saw the writing on the wall. Like, yep, we're gone. I get it. Oh, Lord. Yeah. Why is Iro the go one? Is Rest Fans kind of a dick? I think it's I think one, it's the loss of his son. That humbled him. I think that it was definitely that. But then even before then, we get the sense that Iro had a more fun personality. You know, he's the older brother. Maybe got a little more privileges than Ozai, who had to kind of maybe scrape, you know, to get to the position he wanted to get to and harden him, right? But Iro, he's like, I'm having fun. So there is that. That's a good point. That's a good point to bring up. But yeah, chat. Yeah, there you go. Shogun's Japanese. Yeah, no, I know Shogun's, but good example. The new one is, yeah, I know. I had to think about like an American or Western remake of a, you know, or adaptation of a Eastern property. I would get broken by his sons. Yeah, they showed that. They show that he's sad and shit, no doubt. But you know, but before that, I'm not sure. It's a good question. But no, his son's death humbled him, and he's like, I gotta approach this in a different way. I was conquering a war hero for the Fire Nation, believed in their imperialism till his son died. Yeah, I guess that's true. Like he was the dragon of the West. I guess they showed it in the flashback. There's a flashback episode where we see a young Zuko and Azula, and their mother is reading a letter that Iro sent to them, and he's like, "Yep, we just broken through the first wall, and we're gonna fuck him up." And they're like, "He's gonna fuck him up." I love Uncle Iro. So I think there was that, and then his son died. Like I think his whole perspective changed. He's like, I'm not thinking about this in the correct way. So, yeah, I think you're right. His son was a soldier and made him realize he died for no good reason. Yeah, I think you're right. I think, that's exactly right, Katria. Nice. No, good discussion, guys. Good discussion. Thank you for bringing all your perspectives and your opinions on this and nice little spoiler review. I mean, I wish there was more to spoil it, to be perfectly honest, and some big plot points, but I kind of covered the big stuff, to be perfect. Yeah, I mean, that's really it. That's really it. I hope you enjoyed the reviews.